guarantee satisfaction. Even we don't experience what Buddha experienced when he was young. We found we can understand, this is not a healthy way of life. And not many people can reach there. There might be small number of successful people, but in order to allow those small number of people successful, majority of people cannot be successful. If everyone is successful, there's no success. So, the situation of this modern society, it is said 8%, 1% of people owned 99% of the wealth. Right? That is what, success and failure means. So in order to allow 1% of people become successful, 99% of people need to be not successful. And I don't think that situation or that system of society is healthy. So I think in that sense, Buddha's teaching, what Buddha taught, have very important significant meaning, even to us in the modern people, and who have never have a perfect bodily pleasure and mental joy. So what I think what Buddha taught was there's another path, different path from the worldly system of value, that is to become successful, to become powerful, to become 1% of people in the upper part of the society. That is not really a healthy way of life. Well, that is what I have to say this morning. So even after more than 2,500 years after his death, I think his awakening and his teaching and his example, rest of his life after his awakening, is still meaningful. And that is why we become Buddha's student and try to live following his path. Well, any question or comments, please?
I'm thinking of an analogy that's using sugar also for the actual moment of enlightenment, the actual time that he or one becomes enlightened. It seems like the glass of water that you put sugar into, the elements are water and sugar. And it's liquid, and then when it gets to a certain point, I'm not a scientist, that's what I heard, and all of a sudden, and it isn't gradual, but all of a sudden turns into a crystal, a sugar crystal.
When you put a lot of sugar into the water?
Keep putting sugar in, it stays liquid, it looks like water, and then suddenly it looks like a crystal, even though it still is just water and sugar. It's the same. So it seems like, loosely maybe, an analogy towards our sitting and practicing the Eightfold Path, that the elements are the same. We just keep doing it, and then just naturally a transformation takes place. Maybe suddenly, I don't know. But is that, you think, is that a possible analogy for the actual moment of enlightenment? What that's life is, that it's just
become sugar crystal.
So
I'm not sure. It depends on what the sugar means. If sugar is satisfaction of our desire, then that is not what Buddha experienced. But if we think sugar is the revelation from that desire.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The practice that we do is the sugar, not in this case, not pleasure, but the practice. Over and over, just putting that into our system and.
Yeah, I think it's possible analogy if we understand the meaning of the sugar. Thank you.
If you're on the road and a robber comes and beats you over the head, what's the steps to not get mad at that point? How can one start working on the right view and not get mad at somebody who is hurting you?
Getting mad means become angry.
Yes.
When someone said something or someone did something to me.
Yes.
Well, when we see the emptiness of five skandhas. That is, emptiness of five skandhas means there's no such things called five skandhas. In the early Buddhism, it is said there are only five skandhas: our body and mind. There's no owner as a Atman. But in the Mahayana Buddhism, it is said even those five skandhas are empty. When we clearly and thoroughly and deeply really understand, it must be direct understanding. Then, and we, try to keep, being free from clinging to five skandhas. It's very difficult and it's almost impossible. But even we cannot be completely or perfectly enlightened or awakening to the emptiness of five skandhas. But when we keep practicing and try to, to live based on that teaching of Buddha, and we can have some certain degree we can be free from our ego clinging. And we see, five skandhas are simply collection of different elements, and they are empty. Then, when someone or some person did or said something against me, at least we don't need to directly react to that person. But we can see, this anger came from ourselves. And sometimes we, in our, doesn't practice, for example, I sometimes talk about my experience, when someone did something which makes me angry, but from next day, 5-day session started. First few days, I had to think of why this person did such a thing, or did I something wrong to that person. So what happened and understanding what happened really happened occupied my mind. So first few days, first day or second day, I think of that things. But after 1 or 2 days, it become really tired of thinking of that kind of thing. And yet anger is still there. But when we continue to sit with this anger, sometimes anger going deeper and deeper, and sometimes it disappeared. And at that time, I found that anger is not actually made or caused by that person, that action or thing, but anger was here. Even that person didn't say anything. Maybe another person said same thing, anger is already here. So the person did or said was simply a trigger of anger came up from inside. when we have this kind of experience, at least we can be free from, how can I say, express our anger right away. So we can wait. And the traditional method to wait is when we become angry, count 10 before express our anger. This can be a very kind of practical method of this teaching. Of course, we cannot be perfectly free from anger or clinging to five skandhas. But when we understand and we have some experience, we can be free from anger or self-clinging to a certain degree. That is kind of a practical meaning of this teaching. Does it make sense?
Yeah, one is like, somebody I know says he vents and he gets angry and yells and screams, and then he's happy. But the realization is that anger has left him, so now he is happy.
Yeah, I think anger or hatred defile our body and mind. So even I express anger to that person and beat that person, anger is still here, I think. So that is not really a good solution. Please.
If I understood you correctly, you indicated that Buddha said there was no Atma. Was that a Buddha statement, or was that a post-enlightenment or pre-enlightenment statement?
Pre-enlightenment statement from this sutta introduced today. It seems he knew that only five skandhas are there. So he, as a intellectual thinking, he thought there's no such thing called Atman, even before he became enlightened.
And after enlightenment?
He really knew that and experienced.
He knew that there was or was not?
There was not.
Was not.
I
Okay.
think only five skandhas.
Okay. Now that's true.
But how he could be free from five skandhas?
Everybody's getting great amusement out of it. If that's true, take that as a given, then there are two other questions remaining, it seems to me. One is, what do we mean by direct realization? And second, what do we mean by ownership? And I'm wondering if you would explain those to me.
Could you say it again? What is the first?
What is direct realization and what is the ownership of the direct realization? If there's no Atman and there is no ownership of the five standards, then you would never be able to have
that means even
you
though
could never own any of, you could not own form, you couldn't own feeling, you couldn't own perception.
Even though Buddha experienced enlightenment, there's no Buddha who did he get enlightenment.
Yes.
I think that is what Buddha taught.
I'm sorry?
That is what Buddha taught. There's no such owner of enlightenment. That was, I think, the direct realization.
How do you have it?
Pardon?
If you don't own enlightenment, how do you have it?
I don't know. It's a wonderful mystery. That is always my question. For example, Dogen says in our Zazen, all those things, self and all beings in this universe function as one. And yet Dogen said we couldn't perceive that things happening. Then how Dogen could see,
Well, that's the
could
perception
understand.
question.
Yeah. I think that is the same question. So I think direct realization or understanding means stop understanding.
Means what?
Stop understanding.
Stop understanding.
No! You must understand and question all.
In that case, there's someone who is who think now I understand. I have no better answer. Well, it's already 11:20. We are going to have a short ceremony and potluck. So probably only one more question.
No, go ahead. I'll finish for it now.
I don't know Nagarjuna as well. Was there any commentary on the Mara Sutras? Did he make any statement about Buddha's later meetings with Mara throughout his life?
Buddha's later meeting with Mara.
Yes.
It is said in the Pali Canon, even shortly before he died,
Yeah.
Mara visited Buddha, and Mara said, "This is time for you to die."
So did Nagarjuna have any commentary on those parts of the Pali Canon?
I'm not sure. I don't really know. I have to check. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.